So you have to excuse me, there's no video for this, so if you're looking for that, don't. There's nothing. Well, yeah, I've got an interesting story, and I'm not going to do all the effort of making images and stuff, so yeah. Anyway, I'll start with why I started with it. Quite a few years ago, I picked up Rocksmith 2014, had a cheap guitar and a real-time cable, and it didn't work properly. It never ran properly either, I have to say that. It still doesn't to this day, which is testament to how bad the engine is. And at the time I was like trying out all the new stuff, learning guitar, and eventually I tried CDLC. My first ever one was actually shit, and it got removed because it was already apparently quote unquote made. It wasn't, it was actually locked behind a paywall for a Rocksmith, and you didn't even get everything with that. It's not all the time. Some songs were removed from the Rocksmith to Rocksmith 2014 transition, so that caused issues. Yeah, and I expanded my range of music that I listened to at the time as well. I was listening to bands someone in my family listened to. Butterfly Valentine, Pink Blackfield Brides, and Escape the Fate. Lots of interesting ones, and eventually I got onto video game covers. I found some decent covers out there, but there was one band that stuck out to me, and anyone who's watched my channel would know that band is John Dematory, or just Dematory. It's fucking crazy what this band is capable of. They do such a wide range of symphonic rock and metal. It's just so good. If you've never heard an acoustic guitar cover before, listen to Deep Mountain by Dematory. It's one of the best acoustic covers I've ever seen, ever heard, I've seen. Not seen music, I can actually, waveforms. But or frequency ranges actually, that's another thing. Imagine training yourself to do that, I'd be nuts. Anyway, yeah, I love Dematory, and I was sad to see that there were so few tabs and CDLCs on it, and so I looked it up, and there's like tabs on YouTube for some reason, which are just playthroughs, they're not actual tabs. So it was like, it sucked to be in this situation where I was not even really an intermediate guitarist at the time, and I couldn't learn these songs. I couldn't learn them by ear like people suggested. So I was feeling lost, and I was actually making CDLC at the time for Rocksmith 2014, and it became a thing that I do, and I made, for the most part, quality CDLC except for the tones, which I sucked at. But the charting generally couldn't floor it unless there was a bug, which I couldn't fix because the software was shit. There's a whole bunch of issues with it. Like the toolkit is a pain to use, the software you need for it is a pain to use as well. It's not fully fleshed out. It's like people just put something there. They use the Guitar Hero thing for the chart, by the way, and then just left it. They didn't do anything to it. Just added the necessary code, and that's it. It's quite lazy. And yeah, so I started to panic and think like, I'm never going to learn these, and that was true for the most part. But eventually I got around to like being better at editing tabs. I used like Task Guitar, an old version of it, because that's the only one that worked. I copied a tab first from YouTube. View of the River Styx was the first one I did. That's by Dematory. And then I tried others, and also edited tabs and uploaded them, and there was like Sire Dream. Other ones also fixed Necrophantasia. I also did Silent Voyage to Eternity using a guitar cover I found. And there's like plenty of others later on that I do, so it goes on and on. So that was sort of my job in like one of the things that I did with transcribing is to help me learn it, instead of going by ear or learning the music theory, I'll do what I call matching, and that's basically matching the note. And you can do this any way you want, but I did it through the guitar tabs. So I hear like a chord or like a note or something, and I try to match that in the guitar tab, and then when I've done that, save it as a GP5 file, quick import it to EOF, H1H that is, and match the timings, and then I've got it. It's a pretty straightforward process when you know what you're doing, and it takes a lot of time as well. Look at the months between them. So look at later ones. Yeah, Demeter, I suppose. How do I do 3 in one day? I don't know. Oh, that's because they get approved, yeah. Stupid fucking ultimate guitar. I'll go into that later. Yeah, let's do that later one, I guess. Demeter Paradise and Demeter. What's the other one? Innocent Treasure is also one I really wanted to learn. Yeah, it's like a month in between, so they do take time. But if there were MIDIs, it would also help speed the process because you had the groundwork for it. And unfortunately, CDLCs have had some bad MIDI files because they don't edit them, they don't make them suitable for playing. So, I honestly think that should be a violation of the rules. I don't know, could be wrong, but most MIDIs tend to be a mess and you can't play them on guitar. Some of them are simple and they work, but they're not accurate. So that's another issue. It's not like it needs some sort of thing, it's just, it just completely fucking sucks to play. So that becomes an issue in itself. Yeah, so that's sort of like the transcribing process, and I did later like branch into other things. Did like Blankfield, I did even the covers as well, like Richard Eby's Crab Reef. That was quite fun. It's quite difficult though, I'll say that. Yeah, I also improved some of my old tabs later on as well. And yeah, it's like the whole thing. But you might be wondering, like, when I sort of stopped doing it and when I gave up. So I've been doing that since 2016. I've been learning songs by matching. And I stopped doing it in September of 2021. And there are a few reasons why. And I've written down the list actually. And just a disclaimer, this has nothing to do with pride over tabs. I don't care what people do with them. Edit them, fix them. It's all up to you. It's not my place to tell you what to do with them. I don't know, you could do it. Actually, no, I'll suggest in the NSFW thing. Yeah, the first thing, technical issues. Unfortunately, I forgot what I meant by that, so I have to think about that quick. I don't know, like transcription technical issues. I don't recall there being any in like the tab stuff. Yeah, I just can't think what that was. So it wasn't the thing I was thinking of, but I did realise one technical issue that was pretty prevalent whenever I was making these. And that was to do with my refining process, I think you call it. Basically just make it cleaner. So as I said, I did everything in an old version of Toxic Guitar. And that's for the timings and note correction. But when I tried to use Guitar Pro, for example, you got this complete fucking shit show. It just didn't work. It did everything wrong compared to like Toxic Guitar, which is very approachable for beginners. It's like, oh my god, it's so bad. I'd edit a note and it'd delete the timing. All I was doing is just typing a note, and it just, yeah, like fret, even number, whatever. It was just fucking bad. Like, I couldn't believe that when I first got it and paid all this money for it. It's like, God, I can't even make it right, and I only used it as like the final step in a guitar tab. So when I was finished, when it was all timed right, I'll put in like the correct note technical things like pinch harmonics or normal harmonics, which it never saved. I'd also put in the proper slides where it just slide without the in Rocksmith anyway. It wouldn't transcribe slides unless it's like a specific one. So I slide from like 4th fret to 6th fret would show a slide in between rather than a sustained slide. So you pick it twice instead of once. But yeah, that's like why I used it. And also bends. Bends sucked in Guitar Pro, but they worked in Tux Guitar, which is very odd. Actually, I'm going to put that in the thumbnail. Guitar Pro, just how shit that was. I still have it, I think, which is odd. Yeah, I'll just take a screenshot from the site. But it's like really bad. It's so bad that it put me off even trying to make my CDLC better and stuff on tabs. Because it's just so defeating. When you buy something you expect it to work and it just wasn't. So that consistently became a problem and I just couldn't handle it. But that wasn't like the big thing that made me stop transcribing music. The next thing was really the big sort of kicker. It's to do with toxic communities and this varies from place to place. But you'd have like, for example, on Custom Forge, you'd sometimes have people who are like really toxic. Like you make a CDLC that's like either improved or something, or you've also offered help and they haven't said anything. It's like, okay, sure. And there seems to be a lot of like, I would say like silent infighting, I guess. Like you get the feeling that something's off. Because whenever I made a CDLC with the guitar tab I made, I'd sometimes see like a few days later someone uploading the same thing that I just uploaded. It's just like conflating the complete website with like unnecessary CDLC. And it's like a simple matter of like communication you can do, sort of help. And I've even collabed with people I think to make CDLC before. But then there's other sites like Ultimate Guitar. And talking about community only here, I'll talk about the website later. And I'll write that down actually before I forget. Yeah, so Toxic Style had other issues. Whenever I'd ask for advice, I didn't necessarily get the advice I needed. I did have help with like tabs and stuff. And I've had one request that was actually fulfilled officially, which was decent, but they didn't make it downloadable, which is an issue I'll get onto later. Like some of the users on there were just horrible, and one of the things with the website, when you submit a tab, I didn't know any of the music theory, so it was asking for like key. I think it asked for scale or tuning or something, both. I didn't know what the scale was, so that didn't help things. And what's worse is when you get denied for something stupid or trivial, like forgetting to put the title in the tab, because there's like this info thing you can open up, and you put in like the details like tab title, author, transcribe or whatever, and even the description. But if you did that wrong, they would move it, and even if it's something like not well recognised, for example, they'll just straight out deny the application or submission as saying no application. So that was stressful. And so that just sort of defeated my spirits in that sense. I was just fed up with that happening. Because it didn't need to happen. It was ridiculous. But there's also forums where people are generally not friendly, from what I remembered anyway. It's mainly Ultimate Guitar, I think there were others as well. Yeah, like, there's a lot of elitism and gatekeeping, I think. And I think one of the things I kept consistently hearing was learn to transcribe by ear, and that's literally what I was doing. I was just matching the notes, and the problem with that advice is it didn't tell me anything like how to improve. So I was just kind of stuck, and then I think people just proceeded to insult me for not actually learning like music theory and stuff, which was what they meant. Didn't say at the time. So yeah, and also like Ultimate Guitar is filled with toxic people anyway, even just like other tab creators. And people, I think people didn't like it when you uploaded a tab that they made and improved it or corrected it. And it's just like really petty shit. It just didn't need to exist. And also like Ultimate Guitar was like, I remember the staff being just really unfriendly and just denying users like, outright for doing anything. It was nuts. But now we get onto the real biggest kicker, I think. Actually, there's a fourth point, and weird enough, all these points start with T. The next thing is the terrible websites. So, there's some that are still, they all have issues, I think. Other than dodgy websites, there's also sites that are like really badly designed. I'll use an example, MuseScore. If anyone's ever tried to download a tab from that, good fucking luck, because you can't. I've tried so many times and somehow managed it in the past, but I can't remember how. But the problem with this site is it just seems to be shite in general. It's like you can't find how to download it, and it says it's free, but it's not. You have to pay for the subscription. And I remember once I actually paid for it and it didn't actually give me a download, so well, it just fucking sucked. I even tried the software itself, it didn't launch. And it just led me to feeling like I can't fucking do this. There's just no point. So that's very defeating in that sense when trying to find tabs. Then we get onto an even more controversial thing. Ultimate Guitar. Now they generally are the place to look for tabs. I can't say, I would be lying if I said that they weren't useful. But they have several issues. So the first thing is they use a built-in tab thing, which sometimes runs and sometimes doesn't, depends on your PC. I've seen people I think have technical issues on it, and like my old PC definitely used to do that. It would like not play properly or something, and it's just not very user friendly. You look at the fucking tab, it's like you've got this like all this stuff here that just doesn't mean anything, like play, pause, skip, speed up or something. Metronome. You can adjust like the volume and stuff, which is handy, but this isn't for beginners, and usually Guitar Pro formats are the best way to go for viewing tabs and downloading them, whatever, uploading. And you've got Ultimate Guitar, which tried its own entire thing and sucked. So that was always a problem. But it wasn't only that. They seem to hide every single thing from you. They hide like the author, they hide the download button, I think. And like the comments as well, like the ratings were broken. Because usually like, I've noticed a lot of the tabs that are rated high end up being kind of bad. So I think there's like an entire false narrative thing there. It's just terrible. And the upload interface was even worse. So it went to like this external site. And it just wasn't good. Yeah, I think that's it for that interface, but then we get onto like the more controversial things. The official tabs and the fake ones. The fake official tabs, I'd say. And also like, oh god, that's another one. I remember now, there's wrong tabs. I'll go into after. Yeah, like official tabs were mixed on the first site, I guess. I don't know what you call it. Like, is it raining outside? That's weird. Yeah, like seriously, the issue with the official tabs was that you couldn't necessarily download them, and that meant that for anyone looking for like accessibility, they were stuck to using the fucking website's interface, and so it sucked. I remember once the tab I requested and ended up completely copying it because into a tab because I wanted to use it as a CDLC, and like it took a lot of time and I did it, but it's like so dumb. Like why? Why can't you download these tabs? And their excuse was, let's just get re-uploaded. Who fucking cares? Like, my only problem with re-uploads on other sites is that it can often be like an old version of the tab or one that's edited very poorly. I've definitely seen that myself over the years, and that can complicate things. It definitely doesn't help the search engine results either. So when you get an official tab, and that's painted as like, this is the best tab version available, it's fucking not. I've seen tabs that were good, official tabs, and I've seen tabs that were bad. And I remember one such case, I think it was Gorillaz Feel Good Inc. actually. No, it was Toto Africa. Because I was going to try and learn that song and put it in CDLC, and I did eventually. Then someone made one better, which I strongly recommend. I enjoyed that one. Mine was absolute shit because I timed it by ear. But their official tab was incorrect and completely unplayable. Can you guess why? You've got 5 seconds and it begins with M. It's the MIDIs. Yep, they use MIDIs for that, and they didn't even bother editing it. The telling sign for that is when you get something that's completely unplayable. Like, for example, for a guitar chord or like a piano chord. It's a guitar chord actually, yeah, I think that was the case. It was like single notes as well, I think, but you had like 1 through to 4 and then 0 frets. That's a telling sign of a MIDI because most songs don't even go like stay in that range. Unless it's some like really lazy metal, but even then. Toto isn't metal, as far as I know, so they literally ripped off a MIDI and didn't even do the bare minimum of editing it. So you had this problem of fake tabs just popping up every now and then, and they called it official. And I don't even know if these were like the tabs that are provided by like the bands and artists themselves. Like, it possibly couldn't be. And they also didn't allow the uploading of their own tabs, which is odd because they could just put a link to it so people can buy it. I don't know. They had a weird policy on that as well. Yeah, that sucks. So yeah, that's like fake official. But the next thing is more to do with user base, and well, that is actually not user base. It's actually the fucking approval queues and stuff. Wrong tabs. Now, there was a song I wanted to learn called "Better Off Alone" by Alice DJ, which is a pretty popular, I think, 90s song? Or was it 2000s? It was like ripped off by David Guetta or something. And yeah, like that one sucked. But Alex Studios one is good. So I looked for a tab, and the tab didn't sound right. The tab ain't right. That's a quote from King of the Hill. That's not. Yeah, like this tab just wasn't right, and I looked into it, and I realised this really wasn't for the same song. It definitely wasn't. And so I looked it up and did some research, and eventually I found it was a cover by is it Lenny Allison? I wish I could remember the name, but it was a really good cover. And I did like it, and I think I made the studio C in the end. It was a tab for that. And this was the only tab. And it's for the song NSDJ Better Off Alone. Like, what? And I think I even reported it because it was incorrect. So you also have these cases of like people just uploading the wrong thing. Not uploading the right thing, but getting the wrong details or something. I don't know what happened there. Just before bots were even more prevalent than they are now. So yeah. I think that's it for that really. But then I get on to the final point, I think, and it's actually 2 points in one. And that was time. It's time consuming learning songs. I think if you're doing it for a job, fair on you, I guess. It's definitely doable, it definitely should be a job. Because I think people learning guitar is something really cool. I want to learn it. I remember hearing Jason Becker when I think initially started. Somehow ended up across Jason Becker's stuff, and at the time I was like, not even listening to Dematory, I don't think. And then I tried to play it, and also like Ingy Malmsteen, and I just fucking sucked. But at least the tabs were there, so I knew that over time I could probably learn it. And one of the things a lot of guitar teachers, I don't think, would tell you is that you can eventually learn these things. It just takes time learning the techniques. Or you can just brute force it and learn the tab itself, like note by note. It's definitely not impossible, and I think you could probably learn faster that way. I could be wrong. Yeah, so time became a big factor. It took, I think, well, as I said actually earlier, I think around like 2 weeks to a month to transcribe something. And this was like back when I was playing Overwatch and competitive and in like the death screen and stuff. You know, I'll just alt tab and quickly go onto editor on fire, listen for the note, play it back in my head during the match, and then transcribe that somehow. And it worked somehow. I think the biggest project I ever did that I fucking lost a lot of progress on because I got a power cut. It was in the middle of saving the fucking tab, and I couldn't even salvage it from my editor on fire, which is nuts. Because I hadn't saved that either. And I do save often, which is odd. But there's Dematory Eastern Dream. It's like a 15-minute song, I think, or 11-minute maybe. And I lost all that progress because of a power cut. And that took well over a month to make, I think. It was nuts. Yeah, like, it was a struggle to even learn things because it took so much time. I think before I started developing mental health issues, it was easier to do because I was more motivated and I knew that making a CDLC would help people. Making the tabs would help lay the groundwork for it. I even transcribed Worship Decay by Solosis, which was nuts. I remember that, it was like the craziest thing I ever transcribed, I think. Because I'd never transcribed a song like that. I did make a few solos to CDLC anyway. Which happens to be like probably my second favourite band ever. Um, yeah, like with serials and stuff, it became time consuming. And the only time I've ever sort of done something actually more recently is like East Nordics. I did a transcription for their song and Adventure Begins. Hang on, is it still on there? I did check it, it's on there. It says it was uploaded. Guitar Pro. Yeah, it's like the first thing that comes up tells you the file. It's not an accurate tab, but something anyway. There's like the groundwork. Also did the bass because I did like how it sounded. Yeah, it was like the first one I did in ages. I'm just gonna get along with the software. I tried my best on it as well. Yeah, it's a great song. We get into like the next thing, like after time, like I just started to not feel and want to do it anymore, even though there's plenty of songs I want to learn. I eventually started making my own music, and this was around 2020. I don't know how I even fit in the time for that. I was a bit confused about it. But yeah, like I'll make my own music, like MIDIs and stuff, and then eventually I moved on to a digital audio workstation. I use VSTs because I can't get the timing down and I don't have proper recording equipment. Still don't, but I'm going to try soon. And I started making originals in 2025. I've been making covers to try to mimic Demetori ever since I picked it up. Picked up digital audio workstations, and I think I've got a decent style anyway. And that's sort of where I am now. It's like I've got better things to do, and I can also practice certain times of the day. Times of the day? Not times of the day, but like I practice for an hour. I've got like physical health issues I have to take into account. I can't tab on the toilet, unfortunately. But yeah, I just make music now and I play games and make artwork as well at times. Also, listen to more music and watch TV shows and movies. Like I've got a pretty busy life, and that's probably the way it should be, to be honest. I don't want to transcribe things because I'm just fed up with transcribing it. As I said, like all the before issues, it's well, it's nothing to do with pride. It's to do with having an impact, and I want to do something that I've wanted to do since listening to Demetori and transcribing it, obviously. And I feel it's important to sort of do something like that, like make covers, make originals as well, whenever I could. So yeah, that's like kind of my journey. Um, yeah, I think that's all I've got to say though. I'm interested to know what people think about this. You know, obviously I'm not like a a professional transcriber, but I did try when I did. Yeah, thanks for listening. See you for another time maybe.